Imagine standing in front of the Great Pyramid of Giza, towering above you, made of millions of stone blocks, each weighing more than 2 tons. How could a civilization over 4,000 years ago build something so massive without modern machines, cranes, or technology? The answer lies not only in the brilliance of Egyptian engineering, but in their economy. An economy so unique, so powerful, that it built monuments which still leave the world in awe today. Welcome to History of Wealth, the place where we uncover how money, trade, and power shaped human civilization. If you love exploring the hidden stories behind history's greatest achievements, make sure to subscribe and join us on this journey. The story of Egypt's wealth begins with a river, the Nile. Every year its waters flooded, leaving behind fertile black soil. This wasn't just nature's gift, it was Egypt's lifeline. While desert stretched endlessly on both sides, the Nile's valley became a ribbon of green feeding millions. Wheat and barley grew in abundance. And here lies the secret. Food was wealth. In ancient Egypt, grain wasn't just eaten. It was stored, taxed, and even used like money. Workers were paid not in coins, but in bread and beer. Imagine building a pyramid and receiving loaves of bread as your salary. Strange today, but powerful back then, because food meant survival. The Egyptian economy revolved around one figure, the Pharaoh. To his people, he wasn't just a ruler, but a god on earth. This belief gave the pharaohs something extraordinary, the power to command resources on a scale unmatched in the ancient world. Farmers, craftsmen, soldiers all worked not just for wages, but for divine duty. When the pharaoh declared a pyramid must rise, the entire economy shifted like a giant machine. Grain flowed from fields into royal granaries. Workers gathered from villages. Stone was quarried, transported, and lifted into place. And here's the astonishing truth. Egypt didn't need slaves for its pyramids. Instead, it used a national workforce paid in food. It was loyalty and economy landing chains on eyes that built the pyramids. But Egypt's power wasn't only from farming. The Nile was also a highway of trade. Boats carried goods up and down its waters. From the south, Egypt imported gold from Nubia, gold that would decorate temples and crowns. From the east came incense, vital for religious rituals. From the Mediterranean world, timber and copper flowed in. Egypt gave in return its own treasures, grain, papyrus, and linen. This wasn't just trade, it was influence. Every transaction spread Egypt's wealth and reputation, making it the beating heart of an ancient economic network. Now let's return to the pyramids. Imagine tens of thousands of workers living in specially built workers' villages near Giza. Archaeologists have uncovered bakeries, breweries, and even medical clinics. These weren't slaves whipped into labor, but skilled workers, fed daily with bread, beer, and meat. Records show each worker could consume almost a gallon of beer a day, not for drunkenness, but because it was safe, nutritious, and full of calories. The pyramid was more than stone. It was an entire economic project. Farmers worked the fields during the growing season, but when the Nile flooded and fields lay underwater, they became pyramid workers. This cycle meant Egypt's labor force was always busy, always contributing. But why build pyramids at all? The answer lies in Egypt's religion. The pyramids weren't just tombs, they were stairways to eternity. Pharaohs believed they would live forever with the gods, and the pyramid was their gateway. So building a pyramid wasn't only a construction project, it was a spiritual duty. Entire villages worked to ensure their pharaoh reached the afterlife. This belief system tied economy, politics, and religion into one. Food taxes paid for stonecutters, trade routes brought in exotic materials, laborers built under the promise of divine reward. The pyramid was the economy turned into stone. Of course, no system is perfect. Egypt's economy had limits. When floods were weak, harvests failed, famine struck. Without food, workers couldn't be fed and construction slowed. Corruption also grew. Officials sometimes diverted grain for themselves, and as pyramids grew larger, the strain on Egypt's resources increased. Eventually, this led later pharaohs to abandon giant pyramids in favor of smaller temples and tombs. But for a golden age, the Old Kingdom, Egypt's economic engine worked almost flawlessly, leaving behind monuments that would outlast empires. And this is the most powerful lesson. Egypt's pyramids weren't built by magic, aliens, or slaves. They were built by an economy, one of the earliest examples of how wealth, organization, and belief can move mountains, quite literally. The Great Pyramid wasn't just stone on stone, it was bread, beer, taxes, trade, and loyalty, transformed into one of the world's most enduring wonders. So the next time you see the Great Pyramid rising against the desert sky, remember, it isn't just a tomb, it's the story of how an economy fed, organized, and inspired a nation to build for eternity. If you enjoyed this journey into the wealth of ancient Egypt, make sure to subscribe to History of Wealth and join us as we uncover more stories of money, trade, and power that shaped our world. Share this with a friend who loves history. Let's keep the story alive.